If you search for places to visit near Da Nang, Bana Hills is probably the first thing you'll see. Most people know it because of the Golden Bridge, the one held by giant stone hands, but the whole complex is actually huge. There is a French-style village in the mountains, hotels, gardens, rides, cafes, and one of the longest cable cars in the world. It's basically Vietnam's version of a fantasy mountain resort. And honestly, Bana Hills at night feels like a completely different place. To get to Bana Hills, you first need to take the cable car up the mountain. And this is where the whole experience already starts. The ride is super long, everything gets covered in fog, and at some point you can barely even see the jungle below. One thing we didn't know before coming here is that if you book a hotel inside Bana Hills, you can use a separate entrance for hotel guests, which is honestly a huge advantage, because the regular daytime queue can get really long. We stayed at Mercury Da Nang French Village Bana Hills, which is basically the main hotel up there inside the French village itself. So after the cable car, you're already inside the complex and can just walk to your room. The hotel is pretty simple overall, but the location is the main reason to stay there. Once most tourists leave the evening, you're still up in the mountains with almost empty streets around you. But staying here is definitely not cheap by Vietnam standards. We booked pretty last minute and paid somewhere around $150 for one night. There are a few different room options up there, but in general, if you want to stay overnight, it's probably better not to leave booking until the last moment like we did. After around 30 minutes on the cable car, you finally arrive at the top of the mountain. And the moment you step out, it honestly feels a bit unexpected, because suddenly you are walking straight into this massive European-style complex in the middle of Vietnam. First we checked into the hotel and dropped our bags off before exploring the area properly. The room itself was pretty standard, nothing super luxurious, but honestly you're most paying for the location and the experience of staying up here overnight. Most of the main areas is built around what they call the French village. There are stone streets, small squares, churches, towers, cafes, and a lot of buildings inspired by old French and European architecture. Some parts are loosely inspired by places like medieval French towns, and there are also buildings designed to look like famous European landmarks. You'll probably notice the cathedral in the center almost immediately, because it's basically the main landmark of the whole village. There is also a building inspired by the Louvre, plus random little details everywhere, statues, fountains, balconies, fake old windows. During the day it gets really crowded around the center, especially near the church and photo spots. But the area is actually much bigger than I expected. Once you leave the main square, there are lots of smaller streets and corners that are way quieter. Around sunset, we started walking farther away from the main square and ended up near the temple area on the other side of Bana Hills. This part felt way calmer compared to the center. There were barely any people left. From up there you can actually see all the way down to Da Nang and the coastline if the weather is clear enough. At the same time, everyone else was heading in the opposite direction, back to the cable cars before closing. It's probably the weirdest part of staying overnight here. You watch thousands of people leave at the same time, the streets slowly empty out, and then suddenly the whole place becomes quiet. Even the French village looked completely different once it got darker and less crowded. Honestly, I think this was my favorite part of the whole experience. Not the bridge, not the daytime crowds, just walking around up there in the evening when everything finally slowed down. After sunset, we took a short walk through the French village, then stopped by the amusement park. The rides stop working in the evening, but the area itself stays open. At night the park was completely empty. To my surprise, there was no one there but us. So we walked around the empty park and took pictures with the creepy animatronic dolls. It was awesome. One of my favorite parts was the dinosaur area. Walking through a Jurassic Park style section at night with moving dinosaurs and no crowds around was strangely fun. It reminded me of old 19th adventure movie and theme park a little bit. I feel like most people only see the busy daytime version of Bunny Hills, but staying overnight lets you experience a different atmosphere. The next morning breakfast was included with the hotel stay, and it was actually much bigger than I expected. It's a full buffet with Vietnamese food, fruit, eggs, noodles, coffee, pretty much a mix of different cuisines depending on what you want. By around 6 in the morning we went straight to the Golden Bridge before the crowds arrived. The weather was really cloudy at first, so there wasn't much of a view yet. Almost nobody around, barely any noise, and for once you could actually walk across the bridge without stopping every few seconds. Later we came back again once the weather got a little clearer. By late morning the bridge was already packed with people taking photos, tourists arriving non-stop and line forming everywhere. So if you want to see the Golden Bridge without huge crowds, staying overnight and going early in the morning makes a huge difference. Before leaving, we spent a few more hours walking around the park during the day. There are so many random areas hidden around Banner Hills that it honestly feels impossible to see everything in one visit. And I think that's what makes this place interesting overall. It's not trying to be realistic, everything feels oversized, theatrical, slightly artificial, almost like movie decorations or giant fantasy set built on top of a mountain. And even when something looks obviously fake, it's still fun to walk around because the scale of the whole place is huge. Then eventually it was time to head back down on the cable car. And that part felt strange too, because after spending a night up in the mountain you forget how different the weather is below. Up there it was cold enough for hoodies and jackets, foggy in the evening, windy in the morning. Then half an hour later you're back in hot tropical Da Nang again. So was staying overnight worth it? I'd say yes, mostly because of the atmosphere after the crowds leave and early in the morning before everything gets busy again. I probably wouldn't stay for multiple nights, but for one night it felt like a completely different version of Banner Hills compared to the usual day trip.